receiving pain? Take any part of your body. Take your earlobe. Very insignificant. Now you consider in how many ways you can give pain to this earlobe. Take a pin, prick it. Take a knife, cut it. Take some fire, burn it. Take a stone, smash it. What will you get? And now you think in how many ways you can give pleasure to your earlobe. Can you think of any? So that is the reality. And that principle applies to every single part of our body. Every single part of our body. Take any part of your body and consider in how many ways you can give pain to this part and how many ways you can give pleasure to this part. So what's the conclusion? This body is a wonderful instrument for receiving pain. So, then this is how it further goes from this logical conclusion to understanding what this world is. And that preliminary conclusion leads to that this is made of atoms, paramanus. This world is made of minutest particles. That's after Nyaya, it's going to Vaisheshika. The conclusion of that, Vaisheshika, or purpose of Vaisheshika is Paramanubad, atomic theory. Then it goes to the analytical study, Sankhya. 5 elements, 5 senses. The 5 senses interact with the 5 elements, 5 objects of the senses are generated. The ears interact with ether, sound is produced. Skin interacts with air, touch is produced. Eyes interact with fire, form is produced. Tongue interacts with water, taste is produced. Nose interacts with earth, smell is produced. In this way, due to the interaction between the 5 elements with the 5 senses, interaction between the 5 senses with the 5 elements give rise to 5 objects of the senses. Sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Then they considered 5 working senses. Bak, Pani, Payu, Udar, Upastha. Speech, hands, belly, anus, and genitals. So with these 5 working senses, a living entity becomes inactive in this material world. So 4 fives are 20. Then 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and false ego. 23. Then Mahut Tattva, the material principle, the element, the substance from which the whole material creation become manifest. Even the mind, even our intelligence, even our false ego is a product of Mahatattva. 24. With this 24 consideration, the entire material nature has been analyzed. But as Prabhupada is pointing out, transcending matter, Sankhya actually is transcending matter and coming to the spirit. How? All these 24 considerations are objective. But object exists depending on the subject. So who is the subject? I am the subject. We all are eyes. And that's the subject. I am here, therefore this world is manifest. So, but this I couldn't be found in these 24 considerations. Therefore, I is beyond matter. So the 25th consideration, Atma, spirit soul, is beyond matter. So this is how they're transcending matter and coming to the spiritual platform. They didn't stop at that. Eyes are minute and many. So anything that is minute and many must have an origin, source. So who is the source? Who is the source of all the eyes? The Supreme I, Param Atma, or Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how, through Sankhya, it is transcending the material nature, coming to the spiritual platform, and in the spiritual domain, they are establishing the existence of minute souls and supreme soul. Minute souls are we, and Jivatma, and the supreme soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that then leads to the next point, yoga. What is the relationship between the minute soul, spirit soul, and the supreme soul? And that is established through the 8 steps or 8 limbs called Ashtanga Yoga. And through Ashtanga Yoga, when one achieves perfection in Samadhi, one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he surrenders himself unto Him. And that surrender is the beginning of devotion. Sharanagati. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Shaparshad Shiyodham Shaho Abotari Ottanto Durlabha Prem Koribare Dan Shikhaye Sharanagati Bhakotero Pran. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to display Jibe Daya Kori, bestowing his mercy upon the fallen souls, he descended with his associates and his dham, Shaparshad Shiyodham Shaho Abotari. Abotari, he descended from the spiritual sky. Why? Ottanto durlabha prem koribare dan, in order to bestow, in order to distribute prem, Krishna prem, Braja prem, which is very, very rare. Ottanto durlabha prem koribare dan, shikhaye sharanagati bhakotero pran. He is teaching the living entities how to surrender to Krishna. So this Sharanagati, this surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the very foundation of devotional service. So this way we can see through different practices, when one ultimately reaches to the point of seeing the Lord in the heart. Through yoga, what happens? One sees the Lord in the heart. Samadhi. And when he sees the Lord in the heart, then what would be his natural tendency? When a small person comes across a big person, what naturally happens to him? His head bends down in respect and he offers himself to him. So that is the surrender, natural surrender to the Lord. So this is how we are seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to distribute, to give us something which is the highest spiritual achievement. Therefore Prabhupada used to say that when one is engaged in devotional service, it has to be understood that he has achieved all spiritual perfection. He has achieved Yoga Siddhi and so forth. Because this platform of devotional service is beyond the achievement of perfection of yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. So the process begins with surrender. And the goal of life, the goal of this process is to surrender to Krishna. Ante Narayana Smriti means at the time of death, remember Krishna, that He is your supreme shelter. So when you recognize that He is your supreme shelter, then what else can you do but to surrender unto Him? And when you surrender, then what does Krishna do? When you surrender to Krishna, will Krishna turn around His face and walk away? No. Krishna will pick you up. Therefore, Prabhupada is pointing out that always remember Krishna and never forget Him, so that at the time of death you can remember Krishna. Never forget Him. So our life should be designed in such a way that we can always remember Krishna and never forget Him. So please make it a point of your life. Make it a point to remember Krishna all the time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the perfect process of remembering Krishna, chanting the holy name. So please chant the holy name in japa and kirtan very nicely. Especially in japa, you have taken a vow at the time of initiation to chant 16 rounds. So at the time of initiation, what's your spirit first vow? Was the first contract? Chant 16 rounds. So be very, very strict about this principle. Chant your rounds very nicely. Nicely means hear when you are chanting. Because the attentive chanting means hearing properly. Must chant attentively, meaning hear. The holy name is the transcendental sound vibration. And the way to receive the sound vibration is by hearing. So please take advantage of this process very nicely. Don't ever neglect your chanting. I'm emphatically telling that, I'm emphasizing on this point because I have seen in course of time you forget about the importance of chanting. I have seen so many devotees, even in spite of making that vow, taking that vow at the time of initiation, they don't stick to the vow. They don't chant their 16 rounds. So please don't fall into that trap. Make it a point to chant yes, at least 16 rounds very, very carefully, very attentively. Because if you don't chant, then you are not following the process. And if you don't follow the process, how will you get the result? So if by taking some medicine, you are meant to become cured, if you don't take the medicine, can you ever expect to get cured? So similarly, the purpose of becoming spiritually situated is by chanting at least 16 rounds. So if you don't, then how can you properly become situated in your spiritual life? How can you expect to make spiritual advancement? It will never happen. So please become serious about your spiritual life, because this is an opportunity to perfect your existence. You are getting a chance to go back to Godhead. Sometimes I hear some people say, some devotees also say, oh, in this lifetime, how is it going to be possible? Maybe it will take many, many lifetimes. Maybe, but the process is there. If you practice the process, then it will happen. This process is meant to take you to spiritual sky. And not only take you to the spiritual sky, this process situates in the spiritual sky. If you are practicing the process now, here, you are situated in the spiritual platform, spiritual world. There's no difference. That's why the devotees don't care about liberation. If I am rendering devotional service here, I am in the spiritual world. Because when I go back to the spiritual sky, what shall I do? Shall I do something other than what I am doing now? Therefore, the situation that we are in ISKCON, is non-different from being in the spiritual sky. Therefore, remain properly situated. And then at the time of death, remember Krishna, and Krishna will situate you. Wherever Krishna situates you, you can rest assured that that's the perfect situation. Krishna may say, well, come back again and preach. Won't it be wonderful? Isn't preaching wonderful? Isn't rendering service to Krishna wonderful? So these opportunities are already at hand. So why should we worry? So this is the wonderful process that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And now it's up to us how sincerely we will take to this process. So please take full advantage of this opportunity. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. Does anybody have any question? Yeah. Any mic here? Cordless mic. Okay, you can tell me while they're... Okay. Okay, tell me.
Hare, you explain how when we try to remember Krishna, oftentimes we have to force ourselves to get into chanting
Good point. Very good point. You see, the forcing is necessary at times. That's called the practicing stage. Initially it is sadhana bhakti. Right? Sadhana, practicing, stage of devotion. But by practice, we'll achieve perfection. And that perfection is developing the love for Krishna. And when we develop love for Krishna, then it will be naturally spontaneous. It will be spontaneous. We want to speak about Krishna all the time. We would like to think about Krishna all the time. We'll try to sing His glory all the time. So what we are practicing, although there is some effort behind that, it is to come to that platform of developing our love for Krishna. And when the love is achieved, then everything is achieved. Any other question? Yes, Bhakti Prem Maharaj. Yeah, cordless mic TV. Very good point. Always remember Krishna means not only before going to sleep, even when we are sleeping, we should remember Krishna. That is the meaning of always remembering Krishna. And it will happen. If throughout the day we are thinking or actively involved in serving Krishna, then at night also, when the mind is active, subtle body is active, we'll dream of Krishna. And when we're in deep sleep, then we won't be in deep sleep. We'll be transported to the region beyond deep sleep. That is the spiritual reality. And there we'll be able to associate with Krishna. That is how perfect this process is. We practice the process and perfection comes in this way. First aspect is we are engaging both the body and mind, gross body and subtle body in service of Krishna. So when we do that, then when we are awake, then both gross body and subtle bodies are active in devotional service. When we are dreaming, sleep has two stages, dreaming stage and deep sleep. So in dreaming stage we will dream about Krishna. And in deep sleep we will be transported to the spiritual world. Because deep sleep actually brings us close to Krishna, but because we are not aware of Krishna, we cannot experience. But if we are Krishna conscious, then we will, transcending that barrier of deep sleep, of unconsciousness, ignorance, we will come to the region of spiritual reality. Deep sleep actually takes us very close to the spiritual sky. But unfortunately, we wake up and come back here. It is like after Mahapralaya, going to Mahavishnu and not being conscious. And when we wake up, again when the creation begins, we come back here. Similarly, the deep sleep is taking us very close to Krishna. Now it's a matter of waking up in that region. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Jananivas Prabhu, do you have any comment? Okay, if there is no question, then... Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Very enlightening. Some questions of what we should Bhakti. The shloka and explanation, at least you are reminded why we join Krishna consciousness, how should we continue, now question for practicing very much for that.
Thank you.
So we are in class, nice evening, we are very thankful. अभी अनाउंसमेंट में ऐसा है, ये प्रोग्राम हुआ अभी नीचे प्रसाद है सबके लिए, फास्ट अपना ब्रेकफास्ट सब लोग प्रसाद देते ही रहेंगे। और 4 दिन आप सबसे निवेदन है सूरत के भक्तों के लिए भी आप प्रसाद घर में नहीं बनाइए, सब लोग प्रसाद नहीं लीजिए। ब्रेकफास्ट लंच डिनर सब डिवोटी लोग आए माया पुत्र है विजय से वही प्रसाद बना लेंगे, तो प्रसाद नहीं है। इसके आगे का प्रोग्राम ऐसा रहेगा कि नेक्स्ट सेशन 11:30 बजे शुरू होगा। तुलसी प्रभुपाद की कथा होगी कि जन्माष्टमी की शाम होगी और भी वक्ता बोलेंगे 11:30 से 1 बजे तक। फिर यहाँ पर लंच प्रसाद रहेगा। एक आपको की सुविधा देखिए ये रहेगी, प्रोग्राम सारे इंग्लिश में रहेंगे, लेकिन साथ ही साथ FM ट्रांसमिशन पे उसका हिंदी और बंगला अनुवाद साथ साथ चलेगा। तो FM ट्रांसमिशन के लिए आप सबके पास जो मोबाइल्स हैं उनमें बहुत लोगों के पास हिंदी वायस नहीं होंगे, तो हम लोगों ने हिंदी वायस मंगा लिए हैं, अभी आ रहे हैं। FM ट्रांसमिशन भी चालू हो गया है, लेकिन अनाउंसमेंट बीच में नहीं किया लेट हुआ था। तो अभी जो भी सेशन हैं उदास आकाश मत होइए, शुरू को मेरी का दिक्कत है, सबको ये वायर लगेगी, आप यहाँ काम पर लगा रहेगा। अपने मोबाइल में फ्रीक्वेंसी आपको बता दी जाएगी, 103 पर हिंदी है और बंगला किसके ऊपर है, तो बंगला का ट्रांसमिशन भी आपको साथ में मिलेगा, किसी को दिक्कत नहीं। तो हिंदी बंगला और इंग्लिश ये भाषा रहेगी। और ये जितना प्रोग्राम हो रहा है वो इंटरनेशनल लाइव टेलीकास्ट है इसका इंटरनेट के ऊपर, तो ये काफ़ी अच्छी खबर है। अगली बार आप आगे बाहर ले लीजिए, सबको मिल जाएगा, मोबाइल में अपने पिक्चर सेट कर लीजिए। तो आपको शाम का प्रोग्राम सुबह का 11:30 है, शाम का प्रोग्राम 5:30 से 7 तो का कथा रहेगी। उसके बाद भक्ति चारू कल इसी प्रकार सुबह यहाँ 5 बजे भक्तों आए थे, तो लोकल भी आएंगे थे। इसके बाद जपा 7:30 बजे पूजा, 8 बजे भागवत दर्शन, बाकी प्रोग्राम कल 9 बजे के साथ है। और 18 तारीख को सुबह एक महा विशाल नगर संकीर्तन का आयोजन है, तो 7 बजे विजयदशमी हॉल से शुरू होगा और लगभग 1.5 घंटा हम लोग यहाँ नगर संकीर्तन करते हैं। कम से कम 2 से 2.5 तक नगर संकीर्तन जाएंगे और जोरदार धूम के साथ नाचते हुए नाम की ध्वनि लेके जाएंगे। सभी लोग आइए और भी आपके संबंधित लोगों को सूचना दीजिए, कब शुरू आने के लिए तो एक जोरदार भक्ति करना सब लोग बात करेंगे।
You have to say it in English also. You have to say it in English. You have to say it in English also. And make it short.
So today, now after the breakfast is there in the basement, and then 11:30 to 1 will be the first session. Prabhupada Katha will be started by 20 days, and then thereafter it will go for 1.5 hour. Then the lunch session for all, then break. Evening session will commence at 5:30 to 7. Then again is Prabhupada Katha. 7 o'clock Sandhya Aarti, 7:30 actually speaking by Bhakti Charu Swami up to 8:15, then in the Prashad is for today. And there will be Bangla, and tomorrow morning 5 o'clock Sandhya Aarti, 7:30 in Puja, 8 o'clock Bhagavad, then another program, and on 18th morning is Mahanagar Sanskrit, with all of us people.
Thank you.
And regarding the shoes, please don't just here and there, your shoes can, please now go to Bangalore to come, but I am shoes to Thank you all of you for coming and attending and inspiring us with whatever attendance for many reasons.